You know what it is, gang. We're gonna do squeaky shoes today. Obviously, you're gonna set it up and then knock it down. Let's go. Okay, I don't feel like I did too terrible of a job. I think obviously what we all really want to know is this section. There's a couple of resonant language videos here on YouTube, but they all just kind of fall really short of where I think that resonant language personally excels in his production is the fact that he just is really good sound design and like the harmonics of his stuff. Obviously, I'm never going to be able to recreate anything that a lot of people maybe do perfectly. I don't know. Because this is all going to be very particular to whatever he was doing to design those sounds in the first place. But I'm going to show you the technique on how to get those kind of spacious, ominous, glitchy, very vocal, humanistic almost. It's almost like he does a good job at humanizing a lot of digital things, just giving it a lot of feeling and space. And I have a couple little bonus things that I'll get into first. In the intro, in the original, he's got these big kind of they're basically the intro to Scapula, like just saw waves. I've pulled this up in current. I'm not going to go over this because it's just a quick little bonus thing, but big saw wave. I got a little bit of sign in there for harmonics, and then this just lifts up on the global pitch. It kind of just gives it a little whoosh, and it spreads the detuning out a little bit too. And then you could probably invert this same thing and over here and add it on the pitch to give it some punch in the beginning. I have it ducked in the attack, but if you wanted that noise to have more punch. And for the blips, I just took the blips out of his tune because I didn't want to make little blips, even though they're really easy. You could just make a sine wave and pitch bend it, and you'll have those blips. So I just took his out of the tune because they're not really important. I'm not going to go over any of the drums because it's a very simple drum kit. Got a lot of space in it, which is obviously he's making room for a lot of the space that he creates in his sound design. Yeah, basically I think that what we're all here for are these effects. Sure. You know, it's pretty close. Obviously it's not the same, but I'm going to show you how I got these. So I actually went out of my way to make these for this remake, and these are my originals that are already processed. Whoopsie daisies. If I go into here and warp it, I might be able to get the original sound back because I don't have those original files. But as you can hear, they're just They're pretty much Quacks. My personal guess is he uses Portal a lot just to create a lot of space and effects. But so I've just used these as an example of how to get this. And this is the original sound that I've made. I originally made these in Serum, but I could show you how to in another video. I'll probably go over a whole Quack video, just a squelch Quack tipper-ish video. Drop a comment if you want me to do that. Yeah, so I've got those, and I picked these specifically because they have a lot of high frequency information. Something that you can do is I've taken this down here and I've stretched it. This is the same exact sample, and I'm going to show you how I get this. But you can tell it kind of has that squeaky shoe, wherever it is. Get a little bit of that atmosphere. So you could probably do this with laser, a good laser sound. I might actually just use this. I want to use these laser noises because I think that probably is a little bit closer to the resonant language sound. And here's a sound design tip that you're not going to be able to really manage with like a lot of automation. You can only do so much with automation, and you can only get so much out of a synth or a sound using automation. But another fun technique is if you take like whatever tempo you're at, like this one's 145, but let's just say we drop this down half tempo, 72, and then we put this into warp, put it on texture mode, and dropping the tempo of this is going to give us a lot more capacity to stretch this sound. The grain size in Ableton, what the grains are, is the grain is how much information Ableton puts back into the sample as it's stretching to kind of maintain the sound of it. The flux, I think it's the shape of the grains, I'm not 100% sure, but if you take the grain size, this will be like an exponential. If you drag it downward, it's going to go from tight to open, and around the middle you usually get a very rhythmic stuttering kind of effect, which always comes in handy. But I'm going to take this and I'm going to double this sample out, and then I'm going to use this channel to resample. And then I'm just going to solo this, and we're going to play around with this as we resample it while I play with the grains. So as you can see, I've got these textured grains now. I like these parts a lot, and what I'm going to do is, yep, you guessed it, stretch it again. Let's fucking go. I'm going to put the pitch up on these just because what you're really looking for in this stretching technique is you want to try and find something that has a lot of good percussive, high-pitched percussiveness, because you stretch that out, it's going to catch all those transients and make a texture out of it. I'm going to pull the flux back on this, boost the pitch a little bit, and then again, we're going to double this up. And then I'm just going to play around, make a resample channel, and then solo this out, and then just play with the grains some more. What we've got here is a pool of texture to use. And this is the technique that I used for these grains. Using something like this in a tune could sound totally amazing. Especially with like a little reverb on it. Oh yeah, let's switch the tempo back. That's the idea. So you can take that, do with it what you will. Obviously that's gonna change every sample you use. He had a really good original sample. He was probably using some modular shit or something that had a lot of heavy harmonics in it, which, yeah, that's gonna sound amazing. This sub, you guys probably don't care that much. It's literally just a sub. But what I've done is I've taken, I guess, just this and boosted the harmonics on it. And then I added a little pitch just to give it a little bit more of a punch. Nothing special, but this is it. You can copy this exactly what it is. No other effects or anything, just some harmonic sub. And he's using polyrhythms, which I feel like I hear a lot in his music. So if you guys don't know music theory, I'm not the guy to teach you that, but I highly recommend you go learn something about it. And yeah, that's for the most part, I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, I guess I could talk about these little quacks. He's got some good ones in here, which in my opinion, that sounds like a telephone line effect. But I've got a little bit of a quack that I made here that has a human voice on it, and there's actually a telephone effect EQ inside of current also as well. In the default, if you go into mixing and telephone vocal, I've adjusted it just a little bit so that it has a little bit more mid-range and without the effects. I used a formant drift, and this is a quack that I came up with just a valve filter and the formant drift, and this is kind of going a little crazy. I've added that telephone effect, which is what the original sounds like to me. Sounds almost like a person's vocal with some amp on it. But what else? I had these little FM stabs. Not really close, but I'll take a peek at them real quick. And I just had a really thick boy sine wave that I've probably adjusted the position on to move towards a square so that it has a big thickness. This one's a real thick boy. And then let me show you this one. This is how it would typically be. Because this one, I didn't use this one because I like the characteristic of the other one, but I really quickly remade this one just for visual effects because the other one was a little bit backwards. So I have, yeah, this little ramp, which is affecting the stick sub, and then I have a little bit of a sub on that, but I have this, which is, I took the series and I added about 6 of these. And then I took the parse down just to kind of take the waveform down a lot so it wasn't affecting it too heavily. And then I used the same ramp to add some FM into it. I like the characteristic of the other one better, but that's pretty much all that's doing for that sound. And other than that, yeah, I think obviously, again, we were all kind of here for the piece de la resistance, which is the effects. Drop a comment and give me some ideas for requests for other videos or other artists or different kinds of sound design techniques. And the trick with sound design is just always be willing to experiment regardless of the tools you have. And yeah, I hope you guys all learned something good from here, and use this to make your own original music that sounds like you and how you want it and how you want your music to sound. And yeah, bless it.